We'll go there next. Hit the bottom. No. Yeah, I'm coming. There it is. Got it. All right, since we have a separate set of minutes for this, you want to take the roll again to make sure Mrs. Quinn is still here?
District 1, Barbara McQuinn.
Here.
District 2, Chuck Shaw. District 3, Karen Brill. District 4, Erica Whitfield. District 5, Frank Barbieri.
Here.
District 6, Marcia Andrews.
Here.
District 7, Deborah Robinson.
Okay, so all 7 of us are here, along with the general counsel who will keep us out of trouble, and the superintendent, who's always here. I would like to remind district staff and my fellow board members that this meeting is being transcribed in real time so that it can be viewed with closed captions by people who care, who there's a mistyped word here, who are deaf or hard of hearing. Please speak at a reasonable pace so that the people transcribing the meeting can fully capture what you are saying. And since I talk the fastest, you can kick me to slow me down if you need to. So items for good cause, we have one item added, Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we're adding P3 for good cause.
And good cause exists for adding that item so the advertising and hiring process may commence on the updated or new positions. Any items withdrawn?
Mr. Chair, I have no items to withdraw.
Any to pull? We need a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Mr. Shaw, seconded by Mrs. Whitfield. All in favor? All opposed? Mrs. McQuinn, stop making faces at me. I've got to conduct the meeting here. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Disclosures and abstentions? Anybody? Superintendent, comments?
Good evening, board members. This evening's consent agenda includes new and updated job descriptions that reflect the trajectory of our work as we start to build our infrastructure and capacity to prioritize our core business of teaching and learning, while also ramping up the urgent and important work of supporting the social and emotional well-being of our students. It's also important for me to state that I appreciate the board being there with us as we've discussed this new infrastructure proposal. Your input has been tremendous. The Assistant Superintendent of Student Wellness and the Director of Behavioral and Mental Health Services are new positions that will align the work occurring in the district around student wellness, while continuing to ramp up the new work required of districts through the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Safety Act. I need to thank the community. We are also able to bring forward a new position funded by the referendum for a student behavioral health professional. We anticipate being able to add this position of professionals to every campus, and additionally hiring 40 more school psychologists as part of our larger effort to serve our students. These job descriptions are just the first iteration of our efforts to continue to build our capacity to be responsive to the mental health and needs of our students. As I speak to my colleagues across the state, it is evident that we are in many ways leading this work. This is thanks in large part to our supportive school board and our community that overwhelmingly approved our November ballot initiative. Now let me transition by congratulating Mr. Dave Alfonso, who has been named the school district's Principal of the Year. Mr. Alfonso has been instrumental in the transformation of Palm Beach Lakes Community High School, where he has set clear expectations for his students, encouraged them to take ownership of their own success and take pride in their school. It's an amazing place. By holding to his tight mantra, make success unavoidable, Mr. Alfonso has seen the school's grade and graduation rate improve, and we expect to see the growth continue in the coming years. I also like to take a moment to thank the Education Foundation for organizing the Principal of the Year event and at FPL's Manatee Lagoon that honored all of our nominees. It was truly a great evening. And let me just pause right there and say, that's the first time I had ever seen manatees, and I was like starstruck. So literally the next morning, I fixed my kids' lunch and then took them back to the Manatee Lagoon. And so my 3-year-old screamed and hollered, and my son tried to break. It was just, thank you for just having it there, because if you haven't been there in this community, go to Manatee Lagoon. It's really cool. It's also National Schools Counseling Week, and we want to honor our hundreds of school counselors across the district for their impact on our children's lives. Their work has undoubtedly grown more complex in the last years, and I want to thank them for everything that they do for our students and schools. As you were arriving for tonight's meeting, I'm sure you saw the ribbons around the courtyard and entrance commemorating victims of the tragedy at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School a year ago. The District's 17 Acts of Kindness campaign has reminded us daily to show an act of love and support for one another as we move closer to the anniversary next week. We are reminded through these acts of kindness that we are truly stronger together. And finally, I would like to congratulate our school board member, Dr. Deborah Robinson, who was honored this past weekend at the inaugural Black History Prayer Recognition Brunch. Dr. Robinson was recognized with other successful and influential African-American women in our community, and we commend you for your commitment to our district and our community. This concludes my comments this evening.
Dr. Robinson, congratulations. Board member comments, Mrs. McQuinn?
I so totally have these prepared. But first, let me start with the conservatory school. I want to reiterate Chair Barbieri's thanks to the conservatory school students and staff members and parents who have been really very patient and so respectful of the process that we were finally able to participate in. It has been very frustrating to me over the past year that I haven't been able to communicate with my colleagues about this issue. So thank you, Dr. Fenoy and your staff for pulling this together, and I think that we're headed in a really good direction there. Now I'm moving to my prepared remarks. I have stated at the last few board meetings that I have a backlog of sharing great things happening in all of our schools, in this case, of course, District 1 schools. Today I'm highlighting a program that I attended at Jupiter Elementary School last month. Couple facts about Jupiter Elementary School. It is obviously located in Jupiter. It's a Title I school, has a student enrollment of just under 900. 75% of Jupiter Elementary students are classified ELL. They are learning English as a second language. The school opened in 1926, and the principal, who is new to the school this year, Mrs. Nicole Daly, attended Jupiter Elementary School when she was a child. Interesting facts, and it's a great school. The program I attended was the Winter Scholarship Fund, and it was established in 2000 at Jupiter Elementary School by Jan Winkler and Hermine Dresner. They had volunteered for many years, and they realized that for many of our students, college was not a consideration due to financial and sometimes just family challenges. They wanted to spark the idea that college for every student is an achievable goal. This year, 6 students, they do 5 typically, but this year they couldn't narrow it down, so they did 6, in grades 3 through 5, received $1,000 scholarships to be used when they get there at the university or vocational technical school of their choice. The money is held in a special account through the Education Foundation of Palm Beach County, and they get the accrued interest when they enter school. The student checklist, they don't have to be the best students, and it's not that they can never have made a mistake, but it is looking at, do I help other students? Do I come to school regularly? Am I respectful to my classmates and my teachers? I'm almost through. These students don't know they've been selected, but their parents are contacted. And they were proud members of the audience. And if you know the community, we're talking little baby brothers and sisters. It was so cool. If you could have seen these students' faces when their names were called, they were proud and they were smiling. And frankly, a lot of them were crying happy tears. So, more good news to follow at future board meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McQuinn. Mrs. Whitfield? Mrs. Brill? Mrs. Andrews, I'm sure you won't pass up the opportunity.
But I'll be quick. I had the opportunity to be at Crossroads Honor Roll breakfast to be the guest speaker, but what was most important there was the number of students on the honor roll at Crossroads Academy. It was a big deal, and I think some of you may have seen the video by the boys team at Crossroads. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to ask the principal to put it online for you. I mean, the chanting, the words of encouragement to all of the students at Crossroads, the excitement there, it was absolutely fabulous. And lastly, I want to congratulate all of our guidance counselors. I had a wonderful time at the breakfast the other day. You're the angels of Palm Beach County, taking care of our children every day. Congratulations, guidance counselors.
Thank you, Ms. Sanders. Dr. Robinson? Mr. Shaw? Okay, we will move on to agenda item speakers. I'll call three at a time. If you would come up to the table and grab one of those microphones. Emma Banks, Jack Mikowski, and Francesco Lopez. By the way, those of you that are speaking on the renewals know that those items are on our consent agenda. So if you don't want to speak, you don't have to speak because none of them have been pulled. So that means that one of you just sat back down. So let me call the rest of you. So if you don't want to speak, the items are on consent, and none of the board members have pulled them, which means that they will pass tonight. Dr. Tony Stewart, Katrina Samuels, Ruth San Miguel Gutierrez, Caroline Taylor, Mary Green, Bruce Glover, Oscar Mondragon, and Ashley Rodriguez. Sarah Kolb. So any of you that would like to speak, there's lots of microphones. Come on up. You have 3 minutes to address the board. If you would just state your name when you start speaking, and keep in mind that we won't interact with you, but we take your comments under consideration.
They usually start that way, don't they?
Anybody start? Any one of you.
Start on the left.
Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. Is it okay if I grab this?
You can hold it, sure.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, well, good afternoon or evening. My name is Ashley Rodriguez. I am a senior who descended from Palm Beach Lakes Community High School to Florida Futures Academy. I may honestly admit I love the choice that I've made. Florida Futures has allowed me to work at my own pace and accomplish my work in complete confidence without having to fail in front of other students. I love the school and I love the principal, Ms. Taylor. She is such a kind soul, a person who tends to care for everyone and puts others before herself. You can see within her that she loves what she does and she truly cares for her students and seeing them thrive and prosper within their future. She has really helped me personally and has boosted my confidence. She has encouraged me within the moments that I feared my future and believed that I wasn't good enough to accomplish my desires. She motivated me to continue my dreams and to follow them with positivity and admiration. She is one of the few people who truthfully believed in me. Ms. Taylor has went out of her way to help me apply for colleges and scholarships, just so that I can follow my career and my desires. Within Florida Futures, I feel safe, cared for, and confident. Despite what people may say about the school, I must honestly admit that it is amazing. Everyone has their own dreams and determination towards what they want and whether they want to continue school. This school, in my eyes, is impeccable, and I would most definitely recommend to anyone and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Sarah Kolb, and I am a graduate from Florida Futures Academy 2018 class. And I just want to say that Florida Futures Academy has provided me a safe place where I felt like everyone is a teacher to each other. I wasn't afraid to speak up and ask teachers for their undivided attention. And Ms. Taylor, although a very busy woman, prioritizes her students' needs and has always encouraged students to volunteer their time to the community, which I think is very important. I have made friendships that meant something more than just being friends because we see each other 5 days a week. Most importantly, being a student at this school taught me that every other student was there because they want to be achievers, and I too remember feeling this way. Now, in 5 years' time, I will have earned my bachelor's degree in what I've always dreamed of doing. And hopefully after that, I will expand my education. I highly encourage you to reconsider renewing the contract in regard to Florida Futures Academy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chair, Dr. Fenori, members of the school board. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board today and for your consideration of our charter renewal. My name is Tony Stewart, and I'm proud to serve the students, families, and staff of Renaissance Charter School at Cypress. As a career educator with 19 years in both traditional and charter environments, several experiences have helped to fortify my belief of learning and leadership. My conviction rests on the belief that all children can be successful, particularly those who are in under-resourced environments when provided with personalized support and the insistence of high expectations. Our school serves almost 700 students, many of whom come to us with significant learning deficits or struggle with experiences that affect their social and emotional well-being, and sometimes both. In spite of these obstacles, Cypress, a Leader in Me school, empowers our students and teaches them that leadership can manifest in a myriad of ways, as our expectation is for everyone to make a positive contribution to our school. I'm grateful to serve in such a school where so many opportunities exist for our students to reach their greatest potential. I also take great pride in the strong partnerships that we maintain with our community and the positive, supportive relationships established with our parents, several of whom have joined me this afternoon. Again, I appreciate the chance to share just a glimpse of our incredible school community with you today. As we continue working to increase student achievement and providing additional opportunities for our students, we look forward to our continued partnership with the School District of Palm Beach County.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mary Beth Green. I'm the principal at Renaissance Charter School at Wellington. I serve 500 students. We're a Title I state grade B school. My students come from East Lake Worth. They come from Green Acres, West Palm Beach, Boynton Beach, Delray Beach, and Wellington. So the parents travel very far to come to my school, and I'm really happy that they're there, and the children are very happy that they're there. And I just wanted you just to see me as my face, and you're more than welcome to come visit anytime.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Katrina Samuels. I'm the principal at Renaissance Charter School at Central Palm. I am actually the founding assistant principal for the Renaissance Charter School at West Palm Beach, better known as West. We opened 7 years ago there, and as you know, they're an A school, very successful, and I was there for 4 years, so I would like to think that I helped contribute to the growth of that school for the first 4 years, and now I would like to put that into my school right now at Central Palm. I am a new leader this year, and with the support of the charter department and the partnership, with the initiatives that also we have in place, I would love to have this partnership with the public school system as well, and continue the growth and the upward movement of our school and for Charter Schools USA.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ruth San Miguel Gutierrez, and I've been a part of Renaissance Charter School at Central Palm for the past 4 years. My children have attended since they first opened up, and they currently still attend. So I have 3 children, one that left Renaissance Charter School at Central Palm about 2 years ago, and she's now an honor roll student at Boynton Beach High. Very proud. She was an honor roll student there for the 3 years that she attended for middle school. I have 2 younger children that attend there currently, a 6th grader and a 5th grader. And they have they've done very, very well there. So I'm very, very happy with Central Palm. Not only am I a parent, but I also work there. I am now an enrollment manager, thanks to my principal. And so it brings me happiness to be able to help other parents and see their children strive and do very well at our school as well.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Oscar Mondragon, and I'm a former student at Florida Futures Academy. During my time at Florida Futures, I can genuinely say that I have grown so much as a person. From me hardly showing up to school to now getting myself back on track, and it's all thanks to my wonderful principal, Ms. Taylor, and her staff. They have really shown me how much they care about our education. She treats us as if we were one of her own, and I really appreciate her so much. She made me see how important my education is and that she sees potential in me. And of course, me being me, that meant so much because to begin with, I never actually believed in myself until I actually got to meet her. And she really believes in me. Florida Futures Academy is definitely a school I would recommend. So once again, thank you, Ms. Taylor, for being there for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Glover. I'm currently a contractor with the Urban League, and I've been working in some of your schools, Riviera Beach Prep, Turning Point, South Intensive, I can't say this word, the vacation school, Louverture, Francois, and whatever, and also Florida Futures. I'm not an educator myself, but what we do is teach basic soft job skills. And one of the things that we found is that a lot of the children first have to teach them about attitude and about the fact that all of their choices have consequences. In the late 60s and early 70s, when I took an education course, I'm not an educator either, Mr. Chairman, but one of the things I do remember from that class was that you needed to have a strong community, schools, and a home, which made a good educational system. Well, I want to add another one, and that is good leadership. And I'm here on behalf for the Florida Futures Academy, because Ms. Taylor has done an excellent job over there. She invited us in. She helped us with everything that we asked her for, as far as, because we were dealing with students that had attendance problems and attitude problems and those kinds of things. She was right there to assist us. I'm happy to say we've had 16 students to go through a 19-hour module that I facilitated. Of those 16 students, we have 7 of them so far that are in internships. Today, we had a very wonderful day at the school because today we delivered their first paycheck they ever received in their life. And believe me, it's been a wonderful experience for me. I've been dealing in social services since 1972 when I left undergraduate school. And I found through the years that a lot of people's problems started right when they were in high school. They made some poor choices and they never recovered. A lot of those poor choices were dropping out of school. So those are some of the things we talk about after we talk about resumes and all of that other stuff that you do to get a job. But we make them realize that there are only 4 ways to get a job. 4 ways to get money. Somebody can give you some money. You can win some money, the lotto, which is very rare, or you can do something illegal and go to jail. So most of us are going to have to either work or get our own business. So once they get that through their head, it gets to them, and that the fact that they are in control of themselves. A lot of them I found out think that somebody's controlling them, so they do just the opposite. You tell them to pull their pants up, they want to pull them down. So I say, you're not hurting anything. We are just you a little older. And we had fads when we were young, we grew out of them. Your fads now, when you paint yourself with these tattoos, cost $500 per tattoo. My time is up. Thank you.
We'll give you more time. Thank you for what you do for our kids. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Francisco Lopez, Jack McCloskey, is Dr. Banks here? I guess they left.
Could I add one thing for Dr. Penoy? You did a workshop about 3 years ago, and we discussed warmth of another son. I've had about 20 people to come to me to ask me about that book, so that's your presentation.
Go ahead, sir.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for giving us this time to talk a little bit about Inlet Grove Community High School. As I would like to call, my name is Francisco Lopez. I'm the principal of Inlet Grove Community High School. Dr. Banks was not able to be here. She had an emergency, but I would like to call our school as the hidden gem of Riviera Beach. Not many people know the tremendous job that Dr. Banks and our staff have done in order to transform that school to the top 10% listed in the top 10% of all high schools in the United States. We are A-rated school. We are a school that has about 86% economically disadvantaged students. And you all know that the barriers that come with poverty, and we have been able to be successful by giving students the exposure that they need in order to thrive in the careers they're interested. So we want you to consider our renewal and give us the opportunity to expand and give those opportunities to other students so that way they can receive the quality education that they deserve. Inlet Grove is a career academy. We have different careers that are aligned with the standards, the academic standards that we have with Florida, and not only emphasize the reading and math and science, but also giving the opportunity to students to explore the different careers there are in our community. So for that, we are grateful, and we want you to continue supporting in our mission. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Charles Woodard. I'm the board chair of Inlet Grove. And on behalf of the board, we want to also thank you for the fine work that you do. And we see also that you're acknowledging the fine work that we do also. Mr. Lopez has detailed a lot of the things that has happened over the past year. And I just want to support him in that regard. They are a family. We are a family. And as a result, we individualize what we do with our students so that we can ensure that we meet their needs. Without the teachers and the staff, they would not have accomplished what they are accomplishing. And so that's a tribute to them. And I'm proud to be associated with Inlet Grove and look forward to continued association and cooperation and collaboration with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Carolyn Taylor, and I'm the principal at Florida Futures Academy Charter High School. You've met two of my former students, and one who is currently a graduating senior and our valedictorian. Since 2016, I have had the pleasure of graduating 31 students. We're a small school, but a mighty school. My first valedictorian just graduated this past June from Hillsborough Community College. I have one young man at the United States Air Force. He's leaving Saturday, to go to Travis Air Force Base. My other one is a U.S. Marines. He is being deployed next week. I have 3 students at Full Sail College in Orlando. I have 5 students at Palm Beach State Community College. 2 are going to be teachers. We were allowed to had the opportunity to attend the Historically Black College Fair and Latino College Fair. The 2 students that were here, between the 2 of them, were awarded $35,000 in scholarship money. First time ever my babies, I call them my babies, have ever been acknowledged for scholarship funds. We partner with the United States Army, United States Navy, Inspire Youth, Urban League, Urban Youth Impact, Chrysalis, and now with community partners. We have a pilot program for coding class, and we're working to seek Microsoft certification and Microsoft Office specialists for those students who cannot go to college. Now, all my babies are geared for college. Some of them have to go training or vocational. They have to have some kind of program to set them in that they'll be able to take care of themselves if something should happen to their parents. So they're all set there. Everyone has signed up to take the ACT this Saturday. So Forest Hill, Palm Beach Gardens, going to have Florida Futures Academy students in their chairs testing this Saturday. I want to thank the board for thinking of us, approving our contract, and 2, I look forward to working with you in the next couple of years, possible.
Thank you very much. That's the end of the agenda speakers. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Dr. Robinson, second by Mr. Shaw. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. New business.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. I recommend the board approve the job descriptions as submitted.
Motion by Mrs. Whitfield, seconded by Mrs. Andrews. Discussion? Mrs. Whitfield, then Mrs. Andrews, then Dr. Robinson. Oh, I'm sorry. Mrs. Whitfield, Mrs. Brill, and then Dr. Anderson.
Thank you. I just wanted to talk quickly about the Assistant Superintendent for Student Wellness position. So before I had this position that I'm in right now, I worked on wellness. It was a big primary part of my life. And since I've been in the position I'm in now, I've served as the liaison to the wellness policy task force. And I've been looking through that job description, and it's great, and it's very exciting that we are headed down the direction of mental health and working on really that as a priority for the district. The only concern that I have is that the wellness policy, though it has quite a large focus on nutrition and physical activity, it was created to work on nutrition. We, as a group, as a very large task force that meets in this room, have worked pretty diligently with the community to expand that wellness policy to include a lot on mental health and wellness of students that I think really ties very much into this job description. We have quite a bit of staff that I think will be under the this new department and this area, this assistant superintendent that have worked on that wellness policy. So one of the things that I have been thinking about is how we will make sure to respect the work that has already been done for so long by this wellness policy task force, so many community members, so many people that have worked on this. How do we respect that in this new position? I understand that maybe with the focus on nutrition that it shouldn't necessarily be underneath this position, but I do think there should be some sort of a coordination that we plan for it to occur. I'm just concerned that this new position, as we are developing everything from scratch, that we are not going to look at all of the work and all of the community partnerships that have already been done and some of the pieces that have been figured out. So I would like to ask that as we go forward with developing this new department, that we really look at the work that the school district has already done and the partnerships that are already out there and make sure that that is included in the work as we go forward. Thank you.
We will. Thank you. We'll do that.
Ms. Brill.
Thank you. And I have a number of concerns about the positions under number 2. But what I would like to do is make a motion that we split number 2 out and vote for numbers 1 and number 3 separately, because I would like to support those. So I am making a motion that we vote separately for the descriptions under number 2, if I'm able to do that.
We have a motion on the floor, so you'll have to make an amendment. So you're making an amendment to vote on 1 and 3.
Okay.
Or just
I'd like
pull 2 out for
pull
this.
Pull 2 out, yeah.
Was seconded by Dr. Robinson. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. So we're just considering all of the recommendations from the superintendent other than 2B, which will
2A, B, and C.
Oh, you're pulling all 2A, B, and C out. Okay. So we're discussing the other ones at this point. You have anything you want to say?
Well, are we voting on 1 and 3 right now?
Well, I want to see if there's any more discussion on the other. Dr. Robinson? No more discussion?
No.
All right. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. So now we're looking at the superintendent's recommendations on the student wellness, revised and new job descriptions.
Thank you.
Mrs. Brill?
Okay, thank you. So my concerns that, first off, we received this in a silo. I need to see what the organization is going to look like. I did tell this to the superintendent. My concerns are, and I agree, we need the professional school behavioral health, but my concerns are where we have the director of behavioral and mental health services reporting into the assistant superintendent of student wellness. My concern is that when a student is identified as having mental health issues, that student very likely is going to wind up in the ESC system needing an IEP or some interrelated services from ESC. The superintendent explained to me that the psychologists that are currently under the ESC department will stay there, but we're hiring these others that are going to stay in this other category. And I can't envision how that's going to work. You know, for me, the assistant superintendent of student wellness, if ESC is going to be dotted lined into them, has to have some extensive ESC knowledge. I didn't even think about what Mrs. Whitfield brought up about the other things that the wellness area has covered. So for me, to just vote on these without understanding the structure and how they interrelate, I can't do that. And I'm not going to be able to approve these.
Dr. Robinson, did you have it?
But first, to follow up on that, because somewhere along the line I thought that ESC was reporting to this assistant suit, and so maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, one of the recommendations will be to put the ESC department also reporting up to the student assistant superintendent for student wellness, to the point that you made, because of that close connection.
Mrs. Andrews?
I did spend some time talking with you, Mr. Oswald, but maybe we can just kind of share it with everybody. I was concerned. Safe Schools is a big department. Lots getting to be combined in here. I'm so happy to have all of this with mental health based on our referendum and what we're doing for students. But I just want to make sure when we actually do all of this visiting of really the changes that are being made, that we don't have people losing their jobs that are probably working in Safe Schools and doing some of these functions as we speak. And I think you assured me that this is just bringing on the additional help that's needed for our children in our schools through mental health. But I was just really concerned as to how it was going to look based on all the people that actually work in our Safe Schools department and some of these other departments. Where will they land in reference to all of this?
Yeah, so actually, the opposite will be happening. We'll actually be adding positions. The majority, all the positions will be school-based. So we're actually expanding the positions that we do with our co-located services with our partners, the behavioral health agreements. We're actually adding additional dollars. Mr. Burke presented that earlier. We're putting additional dollars. So we want to expand those services for those students who are truly ill or identified with some type of mental illness that do the deep work. The new professional position will help deal with a lot of the MTSS work, so we're expanding that. The positions that currently exist in Safe Schools, some of them will stay in Safe Schools, some would move over to the Director of Mental and Behavioral Health Services Department to align all of the new work that we started this year around 7026, the new work around the referendum, as well as school counseling, so absolutely nobody will be losing their job, just adjusting.
Okay.
Ms. Brill?
Thank you. My problem, again, we've asked for a workshop to know what we're doing in terms of mental health, and we really haven't had that. We don't, I don't feel confident. I can't answer the public on how we're dealing with all of this in our system and in the organization. My first request to the superintendent is when you're bringing us back new positions, that you please give us an org chart, because we need to see how these pieces fit together. But, I will reiterate that, I can't support these positions until I see the big picture. I want to see how it's all going to relate together. I know that it's going to be fluid. We may make changes, but to just give us these without giving us the whole picture, for me, I just can't go along with it.
So the org chart, we have that, don't we?
Correct. We have the org chart. The job descriptions were sent, but there was not an org chart attached to that.
Okay. So we need to make sure that they have that moving forward.
Ms. McQueen's been waiting, then Dr. Robinson.
Just very quickly, as Dr. LaCava and I spoke, I remember when I first came on that Mrs. Andrews asked that any time we have I think it was particularly job descriptions, but that we have the org chart so we can see where it all fits in. We had good discussion about each of the individual descriptions, and I was comfortable, but how does it fit in the big picture?
Dr. Robinson, then Mrs. Whitfield.
Thank you. I cannot tell you how happy I am that we are finally here. I mean, geez. I mean, that we finally embrace the fact that we are the place that everyone comes and that we have to leverage our positioning to save these babies. You know, I mean, everybody's at risk, right? Some have more risk than others, but I mean, I'm not gonna cry again, but I almost want to. I mean, this has been 9 years, right? 9 years. So I'll try to change my language and not say MTSS and say school behavioral health professional. I need an acronym for that. And I want to thank the three of you for the work that you've done, and then also for leaning in until you heard me on this. You know, I think maybe Mrs. Andrews has concerns that similar to what I shared yesterday, where we have people who are doing this work, right? That we need to make sure that we continue to leverage their expertise. But I do have two things, maybe two things at least. So the first thing is, as I shared yesterday, I'm really clear. Somebody said it. This is kind of uncharted, not even kind of. This is really uncharted territory for us. And I think that the expectation was that principals would choose their own school behavioral health professional. I really, really, really believe that we must do central vetting of the applicants and let the principals choose from a pool of people that have been vetted. And I really think that we need to pull in some of our community partners who have expertise in this area to help us vet folks, right? I mean, you know, it's like the car mechanic can say wonk, wonk, wonk to me. I think he's good. I don't know the difference. Like, we do not have this experience in figuring out if somebody who's a licensed clinical social worker or one of our current MTSS or a psychologist really has the skill set to really care about our children and see, again, the gifts and talents that they bring to the table as opposed to the deficit model kind of thing. You know, I pushed back hard before about saying social workers, and that's really just because of my experience with social workers, that they're trained in the deficit model. I don't want that. I want people who come in seeing the fact that you showed up for school despite some of your life circumstances is really a testament to your character. We're going to work with you, right? And so I really think, one, that we need to have central vetting of these people. And then the other thing is that this says that the salary range is for 10 months. I don't know how we do it, but some sites need to have people for 12 months if we mean what we say, right? So I still have some concerns about, I'm still not sure that people really see what I see about the tiering of these services. So in my mind, these folks will be first line. I'm going to accept the job description as it is because I think I kind of beat you up enough about it. But these folks are the first line of contact for the social emotional well-being stuff on campus, right? And they are like the triage. So it will free the school psychologists and the guidance counselors to do what only they can do, right? And so I just want to be clear about that because, and I guess whenever, assuming all this passes and we hire the director and then the assistant superintendent, that'll be something that I'll just need to make sure that they see. Because when you go to the doctor's office, your doctor does not greet you at the door and take your temperature, okay? And that's what I'm trying to get people to see. The medical assistant greets you at the door and takes your temperature and vital signs, and that's the equivalent for this professional. They're the first line, and we leave the experts, which in my analogy is the physician, or in this case, the psychologists and social workers, to do what only they can do. And so I'm just thrilled that we're here. I just don't want us to mess this up. So thank you.
If I know there's two more of you want to speak. The superintendent has indicated that to make sure that you all can see the org chart and you're comfortable with what we're doing, why don't we just table this until the next meeting so that everybody can get their questions answered? You have an opportunity to meet. I had the opportunity to meet with the deputy superintendent, and he explained the org chart to me, so I got it. But if some of you haven't seen that, you obviously need to be comfortable what you're voting on. So why don't we just instead?
Can I please make my comment still, though?
Pardon me?
Can I still please make my comment before you table it?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm really stuck on this one thing that I know that it's not going to be popular for me to say this, but I keep looking at this thing and it just keeps sticking out at me like a sore thumb. This whole first beginning part of this is all about being a principal. And like, to me, there are so many people in this district who aren't principals and do a fabulous job. And there's so many people in this community who aren't principals and do a fabulous job. And I think we are limiting ourselves by saying that you have to be a principal to have the ability to run a department in this district. I know we're all school focused, but there's a lot of amazing leaders in the community and in the country. This is going to be a national program, and I just don't know that if you start at master's degree in education, ed leadership, like certification, experience as educational administrator, eligible for Florida Educator certification. I mean, it's just, it clearly was written as a assistant superintendent job first, and then the part that's the most important, which is all the mental health work, was added on last. And to me, that's the wrong direction. It should be the mental health work, which is the really key part, at the top, and then underneath that is, okay, maybe if you have like experience within schools, awesome, but I think we're going to be surrounded by people who have experience in schools. We have superintendents and assistant superintendents coming out of our ears. So I think that this is a very special person, and I know it's not a popular concept, but I'm not a teacher, and I do this. So, I think we can think broader. Thanks.
Mrs. McQuinn, then Mrs. Andrews, then Dr. Robinson, then Ms. Brill. So much for
Thank
tabling.
you. I just wanted, you can just tell me what steps we need to do, but I hesitate for us to put off the school-based behavioral, that person, the professional school behavioral health, going along with Dr. Robinson's thought about being vetted at the district first, and then principals being able to interview and select what works for them. I hate to put that one off because I'd like to get somebody in the schools.
Mrs. Andrews?
Thank you. And I did share earlier that I was over at Crossroads, and I saw one of your your behavior professionals, and somebody told me, I guess it was Keith on yesterday, you have them at all of your alternative schools. It was very impressive to see that individual work with those students on last week when I was there. So I just saw it in action, and I'm very pleased with what we're doing. And one of the last things I want to say is I want to thank the public, the referendum, the money that we're getting to do this. This is what it's all about. I was at a town hall last week, and I thank them, and I want to thank everybody that voted for this, because it's really going to make a difference for our children. Thank you.
Dr. Robinson.
Thank you. So first, let me talk about this time-sensitive thing, because I really don't want to table this. Can you just get the org chart to us now? I mean, because I've seen it. And so I'm imagining there's specific things you're looking for, like I was, and so maybe you can look at it as we're having this conversation, because I've already waited a long time for this. I just really want to move forward. So, and I want to thank you, Ms. Whitfield, for bringing that up about the assistant superintendent position, because I thought we had that conversation, and so let me offer an amendment to this. That the qualifications that currently say master's degree in education or related field with certification in education leadership, that it says master's degree in education or a behavioral health field, and remove the part about the certification in education leadership.
So the one question I have for the board, and
can I get a second on that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. We have, Ms. Brill seconded. Go ahead. Dr.
So my question, and for the public to understand, this is how this process is supposed to work. We're supposed to present ideas to the board, and the board gives us feedback, and we make adjustments. So the one thing that I want to ask the board when we think about the qualifications, so I agree on one level, and then there's another area where I'm struggling. So I agree that we need someone who actually understands the work, but where I struggle is their ability to manage large, complex teams. So I think staff's initial iteration was, in our world, those of us who have these degrees, it's about managing large, complex teams. The realities of that work at some point has to be applied in a school setting with all the rules and parameters around us. And so to take someone off the street who's never dealt with the school setting and our bureaucracy and our stuff was probably why we didn't consider other people. Now, so again, it has to be yes and, because I think if you are a mental health professional, I need to know that you ran an organization. I need to know that you know that piece. Can you manage a large budget? Can you deal with the ambiguity of this right now? Because this is all new for us. Manage strong personality. Again, there's a lot of soft skill type of things. Managing, working with the board. Like, you have to remember, in a lot of their worlds, they just do what they want. No, we have to go through processes. And so, to Ms. Whitfield's point, I get it, but I want you to understand our thinking is this is still within the 10th largest school district in the country, and that person is going to have to be similar to the Chief Kitt's role, a person that can be our spokesperson and deal with the tough questions from the variety of communities coming forward.
I sent the organizational chart, but I don't know if it opens under your Visio. I don't have it in PDF.
We're going to try to print it and just give it to you.
Okay.
I have Ms. Brill, then I have Mrs. Whitfield, then I have Dr. Robinson. Yeah, we have an amendment on the table. You're all discussing this amendment?
Thank you. Well,
Okay, who's making a motion to amend the motion? Dr.
I don't
Robinson.
know which motion we're amending.
Okay, so I'm amending the motion that amended this job description for Assistant Superintendent of Student Wellness. So I already said master's degree in education or related behavioral health field. In parentheses, certification in education leadership / administration preferred. Number 2, demonstrated experience as an educational or behavioral health administrator in increasingly responsible positions, period. Strike the rest. And I would strike number 3. Because okay, that's the motion. Can I get a second on that?
Mr. Shaw seconded that. Discussion. I can't hear you, Mrs. Whitfield.
Okay, go
Your
ahead.
microphone, Mrs. Whitfield.
Sorry, I'm excited. Let's see. So I apologize because I know Ms. Brill was first. Demonstrated experience in the determination of types of programs needed by the schools and in making appropriate recommendations to assure success of all students.
Yeah.
Does it have to be in types of programs needed by the schools? I don't know.
Can we
I could live
pull
with it, I
those
guess.
two off and
People.
go back to the drawing board and kind of meet with you guys one more time?
Mr.
We need to hear what the board is saying.
Okay.
So we will eventually get there, but we've got to give them time to talk so we can bring back the right stuff.
Okay, so Mrs. Whitfield, were you making a motion to amend the motion that we already have amended?
Yes. Yeah.
Taking
Yes,
number
I
4
was.
off?
I would like number 4 to be fixed.
Are you getting
May
all
I?
this? Okay, so far we have the modifications that Dr. Robinson wanted to make to 1 and 2.
Which I love.
3.
Strike 3 altogether.
Strike 3.
And change 4 for Mrs. Whitfield.
How about we just say in number 4, demonstrated experience in the determination of types of programs needed by students and just not by schools, because any student would be fine.
I'll take that as a friendly amendment.
Okay, Dr. Robinson accepting as a friendly amendment. We have a second on that one? Mrs. Whitfield, that was a second. Okay. Mrs. McQuinn, you're shaking your head. Do
Yeah,
you
we'll
wanna-
go on to number 4. I think, yes, students, of course, but we have students outside of our schools, and we need to take care of schools. That's our job. So I wouldn't want to change schools. See why we can't wordsmith this right here, so I hope you're just hearing us right now.
Mrs. Brill.
Thank you. This is killing me. These positions are so important, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to approve it, and I'm glad we're talking about bringing it back. And if we table it, I would like it to come back in 2 weeks at our next meeting. I don't want, I'm very sensitive to what Dr. Robinson said with regard to, not wanting to put it off. I don't want to put it off, but I also don't want to sit here and cut and paste. I'm visual. I like to see what it looks like. So I would prefer that we tell you what we'd like to see, you listen, and then bring it back to us, wordsmithed, with all of the input from all of us at our next board meeting.
Okay, so I have a suggestion. Withdraw the motion. Let's go down the dais. You tell them each one, we'll go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, each one of those items, and each of you tell the district administration what you would like to see. So can somebody just withdraw? I don't even know who made the motion last. Withdraw it? Everybody's raising their hand to withdraw it, so that motion is withdrawn. Okay, so.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Which is?
The amendments?
Okay, so what we have right now is. Okay, so we never voted on removing number 2. Oh, didn't we approve already? The original one. And that's what it.
So we need a motion just to get it to discussion, right?
Can I amend the motion to table it till the next board meeting?
If you table it before we give our comments, then we won't be able to have comments if we table it.
So let me, Mr. Chair, so this is what I want to make sure happens. I can withdraw it, but I need to know the process so we can get the feedback, because let me tell you what I'm trying to avoid. If we go one-on-one with each of you, then we'll start changing things and someone else won't like it. And so I need to, so I don't want to do that. We need to get all the input,
And then you can withdraw it.
And then I can withdraw it. There you go.
Yeah, so we need to vote to have it on the table so we can discuss it, have the discussion, and then vote it to table it at that point.
Okay, so
I'll make a motion that we start discussing it. How about that? I make a motion for number 2.
you make a motion to approve number 2, which is those 3, and then we're going to have discussion. And that's been seconded by, Marcia seconded that? Okay, so
start here.
So we're under discussion.
No, we're going to discuss it now.
We have a motion on the floor. So let's start with Mrs. McQuinn. We're going to go through each one of these. Each one of you will have a chance to say what you want with respect to the 16 items on here, so that go down the list. So Mrs. McQuinn, what would you like to see changed on?
Well, first of all, I love the purpose. Just saying.
Just
the
clarify
purpose.
which.
Up there, got to have a purpose. I like the purpose.
Which position? 2A?
Assistant Superintendent for Student Wellness. Instead of doing numbers, let's just do what it is.
Yeah, we're looking at the qualifications on 2A.
Yes, we are. Okay. So, all right. I agree. Let's modify number 1 so that it includes. Here's what I want in all this first stuff up there, is that forget the master's degree. Yeah, we need a master's degree in something, doctorate preferred, but it can be in the behavioral health world. You know what I'm saying with that, right? And then, again, number 2 is great.
No,
if
Mrs.
you just,
McQuinn.
Oh, you don't want me to go to number 2?
We're just going to do number 1, go down so everybody
Oh, wait,
can.
I got you. Okay, good.
Okay. So, Mrs. Whitfield, do you have anything you want to change?
I just want to say the spirit of what I'm going for. How about that? And then it's just like themes. Okay. So my themes are around just having it be less intensive on the needing an educator to be a part of it. I'd like it to be opened up to people in fields that I think are related to behavioral health, public health, social services, things like that, because I think we put it out there, and then we can choose who that person's going to be. So I think that would be great. I would love to have a tie-in to the wellness policy. The state statute could be listed as a part of that, and how there's pieces of the wellness policy that are already in there, and that person would at least agree to work on that. That's it. Thanks.
Mrs. Brill.
Thank you. I'm fine with letting staff wordsmith it to just find a way to include behavioral health in having the alternative.
Mrs. Andrews? Same? Dr. Robinson,
same thing.
Mr. Shaw, same? Okay, number 2, Mrs. McQuinn.
Okay, so number 2, we don't have to limit it. It goes back to number 1, to an educational administrator. It can be an administrator who has all that other stuff. Does that sound good? I don't know about the district-wide curriculum, but really what I'm saying is we open it up to having had these huge responsibilities successfully, but we not limit it to an educator certificate.
Mrs. Whitfield, same? Mrs. Brill?
And I'm in the same position, just making sure that it's demonstrated experience as an administrator and then wordsmithing the rest to make it work.
Deputy Superintendent, you're getting all this, right? Yes, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Mrs. Andrews, same? Dr. Robinson, Mr. Shaw? Mrs. McQuinn, number 3, eligible for Florida's educator certificate.
We strike that?
Mrs. Whitfield? Everybody wants that stricken?
Strike that. No,
That's
you have to
stricken.
do it.
Number 4?
Sorry, yes, I agree. Strike number 3.
Number 4 to Mrs. McQuinn.
Okay, I really like number 4.
Mrs. Whitfield?
I like taking the word schools and have it just be students, but that's me.
Mrs. Brill?
You know, I'm having a hard time, nitpicking at what it is. I really feel like you have an idea of what we're looking for. So rather than pick apart the rest of it, I think you know where we're going. I trust staff to bring something back to us, that you get it to us, in advance. And I apologize. The superintendent told me that you were trying to reach me, but I haven't had a phone that works. So that's why you haven't heard from me.
Ms. Brill, I'd rather not just take it and leave it to them now to bring it back. Let's just go through them so we're sure when they bring it back, everybody's comfortable. Mrs. Andrews? Use your microphone, Mrs. Andrews. We're on a tape here.
I can leave that as it is, because as you end that, you're talking about to assure the success of all students. So you're talking about schools and students. It's already in here.
Dr. Robinson?
Yes, so that needs to be wordsmithed, in my opinion, because who has had experience working with the types of programs needed by schools, right? So that would limit it to people in the system, in an education system, or that has a contract guiding the programs, mental health related programs in schools. So you could wordsmith it. I mean, maybe experience working with schools is preferred. I don't know if that's the answer, but
We can add students and or schools.
determining the types of programs needed by schools is a no-go for me, because it's too limiting. It's back to that, starting with the principal as the model.
Sure. Number 5, Mrs. McQuinn, ability to function.
Okay, fine, but going back to number 4, I just want to note, say it's assure success for all students, so that is in there. Number 5, I'm good.
Mrs. Whitfield?
So with, I like number 5, but what I was going to say is I think, and a lot of these are really good. I do think that in our qualifications, we should put something else more that ties. I mean, if you look through all of them, they don't really tie back to what we're actually asking them to do at all, except until you get to the bolded, underlined versions. So state environmental safety incident report. That anyway, all those things I think. There's a little bit in there, but I feel like it's somewhere near the top-ish where we're talking about, there should be something that says what we're actually asking them to do, which I guess we never do this kind of a job. So I'm just thinking there should be something near the top that talks about mental health.
I was going to say that these are qualifications, not responsibilities, but
The next section is responsibilities that tells them what they're going to be asked
Specific, right.
Okay, so we're on number.
I like 5.
Okay, everybody's okay with 5. 6, Mrs. McQuinn. Everybody okay with 6?
No.
Well,
Mrs. McQuinn.
I would just say institutional accountability goals.
There you go.
Okay, everybody okay with that?
Mhm.
Number 7.
I love it.
I like number 7.
Everybody
Yes.
okay with 7?
Nothing wrong on that one.
Okay,
That's a
great.
good one.
Number 8. Number 8.
Yep, I like 8.
Everybody's okay with 8.
Yes.
Number 9.
Sure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, yeses. Number 10.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Andrews really likes 10.
Number 11.
Yes.
Yes.
I actually really love 12. Can I throw that in there? I'm such a fan of
Great
12.
one, number 11.
Okay, and you like 12 too?
I'm a huge fan, yeah.
12's okay?
Yes,
We all like 12.
community, absolutely.
Okay, 13.
I lost on 13. Nothing makes sense to me. I don't even know what that is. SESIR?
Assessor
And
report.
you go first.
Yeah, let's just wait 1 second here on 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my only worry is that we exclude somebody because you don't know that.
Yeah, they may not know that.
I'm not, hey, you asked first. I don't want to exclude somebody wonderful. I might want that job. I don't think I can do that. I don't.
It does fall under the Department of Safe Schools assessor report, but it is a very important report that's come out a lot with the Stoneman Douglas. It's all of our reporting of incidents that happen on our school campuses, and it's
Do you
been
have
very
a
highlighted.
person who actually does that right now already that'll work under this person?
Yeah, the person to my
Then
right.
that person should do that.
Okay, yeah, right. It's not a qualification. I would put it under a performance responsibility, but there you go.
Agreed.
And that's why I think it's just about working knowledge, not necessarily.
Yeah, I think I would like to kill number 13.
With some of the new legislation, this is so important to me because it could ultimately prevent me from getting paid.
Mrs. McQuinn.
Okay, I'm feeling pretty strongly about number 13 because then it looks to me that we've decided who we want to get this job. Thank you. And we're writing it for a particular person. I'm not saying that's the case, but I just think we limit. I just think you could put that under performance responsibilities.
But are you okay with it where it's at? I mean, if you like it, can it just stay there?
No.
No, put
Okay.
it down. Take
You
it
all
out.
want it
It
moved down under
excludes too
performance?
many people.
Performance responsibilities.
Okay, so that one will be moved under performance response. I have to wordsmith the
Yes, please.
number 14.
If you're going to be moving that under the performance responsibilities, instead of saying demonstrated working knowledge of, it's going to be developing a working knowledge of. You can't.
Good point.
Okay.
Yes, let's change
For number 14, can we say or similar program? Demonstrated working knowledge of multi-tiered systems of support or similar, a similar qualification. It seems very specific to know that specific system of support, which is great.
It's it's the Florida State DOE model that we use throughout.
So does Colorado have it too? They do? Everyone in the country has
Most
it?
states have the same model.
The same model? All right, then keep it.
I think the board is correct. When you look at 13, 14, and 15, so again, this is a skill they're going to have to require by joining our team. And so I think it is appropriate to put that under performance responsibilities because these are things they're going to have to. They're very important to us. But the idea of people coming to the table with some of that is a little far-fetched, in my opinion.
Okay, so 13, 14, and 15 will be moved, wordsmith and moved under performance responsibility.
Right, that they are they're held accountable for doing those things.
Yes.
I like 16.
And everybody likes 16? Okay, so since they've got to change this and we have a motion on the floor to approve it, we need a motion to table to the 20th.
I make the motion.
Mr. Shaw, please do.
I asked to make the motion because I want to see, we haven't talked about the other two job descriptions, so I'd like to make a motion that we table this and ask staff that all of the job descriptions reflect the changes that we've made in this first one. And with the time certain of the next meeting on the 20th.
There's a second on that? Mrs. Whitfield, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
So first of all, let me thank the board, and I want to thank staff. I have told staff before that this is a process, and we're in it together. And I'm very thankful, and, and again, it's good for the public to understand that our board takes the guidance of their attorney very seriously. So they cannot speak to each other outside of this meeting. And so this is a prime example of us working together to get to the right outcome for our kids. This is too important. So thank you all.
Okay, so all of 2 has been tabled till the next meeting, 2A, B, and C, those 3 job descriptions. And that should be the end of the meeting unless any of you want to say anything, which I hope you don't. So can we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Shaw, seconded by Mrs. McQuinn. All in favor, opposed, motion adjourned. Thanks.